G'day, Harry Houdini here, and we're back with the Skyhawk. Now, she's looking a little bit bright and sort of gaudy today. I've masked her up, and I painted in the top of the airlines there, all the airfoils or whatever you call them. And down here on the tail plane, I've got that all painted up white as well. And the next job on the list is I've got to get a checkerboard pattern on this tail paint. Now I'll show you a photo. Here is the Australian Skyhawk, and you see the tail there? She's got this lovely little checkerboard pattern. So I'm going to emulate that myself. So you can see what we're up against. Now in the kit from Airfix, well, there's just the US decals, and there's really nothing there that I can use. I'll probably just use these little navy ones and some of these other little bits and pieces. But basically, I'll be using that. The Australian decals I've got, they're great, and they've got a checkerboardy thing happening, but I don't know why they've supplied it in green. Well, that's bloody useless, isn't it? Alright, so what I'm going to need to do is to get that checkerboard happening at the tail here, is I'll just hand paint it and mask it. So let's do one of my little comical speed up things. We'll see how I go. Now I'm using tweezers to put the Tamiya tape in place, because I found that is a much easier way, otherwise it gets stuck all over your fingers. Now here I'm measuring, and I figured out it's exactly 4mm is the width of all my little checkers. So I put a bit of tape down and I've cut out tiny little 4mm wide strips. Now I can then use those to cross hatch out the pattern that I need. And I'm taking advantage of the panel lines too that are on that tail fin, because they match up perfectly with this checkerboard pattern. So here I am putting the cross hatching in, and it's all coming together fairly easily and should give me the mask I need to create exactly the right pattern. Well, it's been a week now and I have been fiddling around with these checks, and yes, anyhow, look, after a bit of fiddling and faffing, I got a checkerboard happening, and that's as close as you're going to see it. There are a few issues, and they were my fault. I hadn't really sort of done something quite as difficult as this. I mean, I've masked things off and painted them, and it usually works. Use my Tamiya tape, you know. There's yellow stuff, it's quite good. But because of the panel lines, and because I'm using a retardant on the Tamiya acrylic, it bled. Never do that again. No, well, we've got a compressor now, and we've got the spray brush, so we would not use that Tamiya tape. We would use the Tamiya tape, but we would apply it a lot more diligently and rub in with our nails, and also I wouldn't have the overlaps. I found overlaying Tamiya tape causes a problem. So the trick is to put it on, overlap, but cut out all the pieces that overlap, and then what you've got left with, rub it in with your nail until it's absolutely perfect. That apparently is the solution. But look, I still got a result. I've got checkerboards, right? Now, what I have been doing, and what is a piece of a clever little idea that I saw online, and this was Mr. What's his name? Mr. Speedy Model Kit or something. Oh, I'll put the note down there. It's Mr. Quick Kits, I think he's called. Clever little guy, and he doesn't use an airbrush. So I always like watching his stuff, because like me, he was doing it, you know, basically doing everything by hand, by hairy brush. I don't even think he was using rattle cans. But he had a lot of techniques for doing things, and one of them, doing things without an airbrush, and one of them was putting panel lines on. Now, this got me thinking, because he uses, so I'm holding this pencil here, I'm not Mr. Squiggle. Hello! Australian viewers will get that. Yanks, you haven't got a hope, have you? Haven't got a hope, you just think I'm insane. Which trick? Anyhow, where are we? I'm getting lost here. Alright, so what you can do, what his method is you can take your pencil and you can get into all the panel lines, and you're very careful. Now you have to use a 4B, I've got a 5B pencil, really soft, basically using graphite, and you rub it in, and then you get a cotton bud. What do you guys call them? Q-tips. Oh, I have one here. I'm never organised, am I? Yeah, one of these little suckers, you know, one of these sort of cleaning out, you know, doing your makeup, whatever. One of those. So you basically use the pencil and you rub the lines, and then that which has some problems turns into that which is not half bad. Now I'm still working on it, okay? So it's checkery, and the beauty is I have scored along all those panel lines where the bleed was with my pencil and then smeared away with cotton bud, and it's starting to actually work. It's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. And I've also started doing some panel lines on the body with it as well, and that's really good. And then smearing them back, which has sort of given me a nice little bit of wear and tear happening there. So I'm really enjoying that technique. It's coming along nicely. What you apparently do to soften it off is, because it's basically graphite pencil, is you can get on with your razor and you rub the little sucker out. How about that? Okay, so here's how you do it. Now all you do is rub your pencil along the panel lines, getting in all the little grooves. Then you get your cotton bud and you rub and rub and rub. Well, that was pretty easy to do, and I think I'm getting better each time. And that's the result I've got this time. Now, it's still a little bit exaggerated, I know, but I'm leaving it that way for the video so you can kind of see what's happening here. And it's giving me some definition on my panel lines, and it's allowing me to add a bit of smear for basically wear and tear. Might be a bit much for an aircraft, but I think this one's been out to sea for a long time. It's pretty grubby. That's what I'm going to do. Now, if I made a mistake, and I did, there was a couple of spots there where I accidentally push the graphite pencil outside of the panel lines because I was doing the video, and easy fixed with your razor. No problem at all. And that's a lot of control. That's more control than you have when you're using enamel panel line wash, which is very good, but you've got to put it on, wait to get tacky, then come back and try and wipe it off with the thinners, you know, and you've got all those noxious chemicals and you've got all those, you know, dramas to deal with of smearing stuff everywhere. With this trick, you're really going in exactly to where you want it, and even if you slip, you can fix it up. In fact, I did some underneath here, because when I painted these little red suckers on, goodness me, I got some overspray. In fact, there's been overspray bleed all over the place with this red. This bloody red paint's gone everywhere. So I had to go in with the brush and do a bit of dry brushing and fix up there, which meant I lost my panel lines. But I just came back in with the graphite pencil and I put them back in again, right? And you can't tell. See, there's how we did it in the previous videos using oil, well, the enamel panel line wash, and then here and here, that's all done with graphite pencil. So it works. It's a good little trick, and you know what? I'm going to continue all over the body, and I'm going to finish off doing all the panel lines on my Skyhawk, and we'll see how that comes out. Well, I've spent a night doing those panel lines, and it was very easy, and it was a lot of fun, and I also whacked a few decals on, and look what we have now. What do you think? Is that starting to come alive? It's the decals are still wet. Well, they're hanging there, but that's done a lot, hasn't it? I mean, the panel lines all show. They're not too obtuse. I've sort of rubbed them back. The checkerboard's looking really in place now. You know, everything's not bad at all. I had a problem with these little danger decals here, in that they have supposed to little red wraparound things that go around the air intakes, but there's no way you could use the decal fix to bend them and fold them. It's hopeless. So I'm going to paint those. I'm going to hand paint those on there, and that'll be interesting after all the experience I've had with the red. But look, overall, and I'm being very careful where I touch, because this is hot off the press. Wow, wet off the decal dish. But there you go, look. I think it's starting to look like the plane that I always wanted it to be. So I've got the undercarriage, and I've got the canopy. There's a few little things still to go, and there's a little bit of finishing off and touching up, but that weathering trick, that panel line method using the pencil, I am really happy with. And you know, now with a few decals on it, it's coming together. So I'm pretty happy that I'm getting a result that is what I wanted with this model. So there you go. That's it. You can tell I'm happy. It's got bloody kangaroos on it. How can you go wrong? So that's it. I'm signing off on the Skyhawk for tonight, and we'll be back probably next week with the final chapter with the landing gear and the canopy. So, better put this down carefully. So it's goodbye from Australia, and it's hooroo from Harry Houdini.